Today, I want to talk about the top running backs returning for the 2021 season. Take a look at a list that ain't mine, and then let y'all see what I see. And all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about Pro Football Focus's list for the top running backs returning for the 2021 season. And we even got some super seniors on this list. And I'm going to do this thing where I move the list in front of me so it doesn't break my eye line because I know how much people seem to hate that. But Pro Football Focus, top 5. Tank Bigsby at Auburn, who is good. Deuce Vaughn at Kansas State, which is interesting. Kennedy Brooks at Oklahoma, who opted out of 2020. More on that in a little bit. Brian Robinson Jr. at Alabama as number 4. And then Jerrion Ealy at number 5. There's no Bijan Robinson, and there's no Breece Hall. And Breece Hall is the only unanimous All-American tailback returning for the 2021 season. What? All right. So folks have the nerve to go at me about my list. I think Wisconsin is running back you, among other things. People have given me arguments for Georgia, Alabama, and they have incorporated all sorts of things. And I get that. But what I am really interested in is how they got to these things. Now, the thing about Pro Football Focus that kind of drives me nuts is they keep their own stats. And there's no way for us to really verify what they're seeing. And that's the reason why it's really difficult to have discussions about advanced statistics unless you're talking about how you have come about those things and what other data is available to the public to go and check your math if they want to do it. It's one of the reasons why we can all say, hey, look, this is total offense, but total offense is kind of a junk stat because we're really looking at how many times you have the ball. We're also looking at how many times you score with the ball, how often your quarterback throws the ball. We're looking at all sorts of things that we kind of get away from that. So I prefer to go with yards per attempt when we're looking at quarterbacks. I also prefer to look at tempo, how many plays you get off, and how often you score when you have the ball. But this is about players, right? And I think when you take a look at who else is on this list, it gets to be really interesting, right? So let's take a look at tailback after number 5. And at number 6, Breece Hall, because you can't keep him down that low, right? But one of the reasons that they decided to dock him was because he carried the ball a lot. I'm going to go ahead and put on my spectacles here. Of his 280 carries on the year, just 13.6% of them resulted in 10-plus yard games, 86th of 140 qualifiers. Okay, so he runs in a zone scheme offense where he's not likely to break out, but he is likely to carry the ball a lot. I think if you are a ball control offense, the way that Iowa State is, that's actually more or less what you want. Now, yes, if you can break one off to the house, by all means, break one off to the house. But the idea that you're going to have Deuce Vaughn at number 2 here also means that you expect Deuce Vaughn to be doing a lot in the passing game. And I think that is why Pro Football Focus's results are a little skewed. If you could catch the ball out of the backfield and make things happen, they like that because they are built on the principle that guides modern football today, which is that you 100% would love to be able to throw the ball around the yard more often than you would like to run the ball around. And if you have a tailback that can catch the ball out of the backfield, you're going to use him in that way too. Take a look at what Najee Harris was at Alabama to start with. And it also explains why a guy like Max Borhe is ranked number 7 on this list. He caught a lot of balls out of the backfield throughout his career. And you keep going down the list and you can see more that kind of fit into this narrative, right? The one that I thought was really interesting here was Frank Gore Jr. out at Southern Miss coming in at number 10. Yes, there's the name recognition, but a 5'8", 165-pound back that can shake defenders, you're putting a lot on can you miss somebody. Going at number 10, I'm not really in on that. Now, Brian Robinson Jr., I don't know that I would rank him as high as 4, but I can understand being bullish on an Alabama tailback, and in particular on the guy who was backing up the guy. The way that we talked about Damian Harris, and we didn't really get to talk a whole bunch about Najee Harris, and then Najee Harris became the guy in 2020. The way that we talking about Brian Robinson now, yes, I think that fits. And when you take into account just how efficient he was with the ball in his hands, it makes a little bit more sense, and I can see how they come to this, right? So, recorded 89.5 rushing grade for them on 91 carries. Again, how they grade is how they grade. But that was 11th best for them in the FBS. And again, he didn't get all that many carries, didn't even get 100. He averaged 4 yards after contact and broke 23 tackles in 2020. I expect Brian Robinson Jr. to finish as one of the top tailbacks in the 2021 season, but that also is true for Jerry and Ely. Difference is Brian Robinson Jr. is going to be playing with a lot better players than Jerry and Ely, just the long and the short of it. And then Kennedy Brooks coming in at number 3. Again, interesting. You're saying that he's going to be the same player that he was in 2019, 2018 to get him there, right? He opts out of 2020 for pandemic reasons, and I expect he's going to be the bell cow back for Oklahoma in this 21 season, and they're going to need him because one of the things that I think hurt Oklahoma and one of the reasons that they lost to Kansas State, Iowa State at the beginning of the 2020 season is not having depth at tailback. Now, there's also a lot to say about the defensive backs that weren't very good at the start of the season and got really good toward the end of the season. But if you have that consistency at tailback, especially with now a proven starter in Spencer Rattler to go along with that ridiculous 7-on-7 team you got playing the other skill positions, you're going to have a lot of fun with all of this. And I can see why you would want to rank Kennedy Brooks highly based on what he had been. Again, one of the stats that they throw out here that I like, no FBS running back churned out 10 or more yards on a higher rate of their carries over that period, 2018 to 2019, than Brooks did at 23.4%. At one point, Kennedy Brooks was a walking first down, averaging about 8.99 yards per carry. He doesn't look very fast, but he knows where he is going, and he hits that hole pretty quick. So I think he's just deceptively fast, and we're going to get used to talking about him in that way once again. It's also the reason why I'm bullish on Oklahoma winning the national championship in 2021. All right, briefly before you get out of here, report out of New York Post is that I have a new colleague, and his name is Bob Stoops. This is awesome. I'm really going to enjoy this. Bob Stoops is going to replace Urban Meyer on Big Noon's kickoff show. That is the pregame show leading into Oklahoma, Ohio State, all those other games that you want to watch. Also in here, there is no Ohio State running back on this top returning list because, well, they don't feel that good about Master Teague over there at Pro Football Focus. Like, yee. All right. I also think that it's very interesting that Bob is taking this chair at a time when Oklahoma is very much going to be the team of the day. I'm telling you in March, you're going to hear people, not name me, saying Oklahoma a lot, buying a lot of stock at Spencer Rattler, buying a lot of stock at Alex Grange, telling you all about Isaiah Thomas, Perrion Winfrey, Josh Ellison, David Ugwebu, Deshaun White, and even, yes, Patrick Fields. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about it. All right, that's it for me.